But I want to start with Canelo Alvarez, Sergio. Bob Arum, the longtime boxing promoter, boxing Hall of Famer, he said in an interview this week that he looks at Canelo a lot differently than he once did. Canelo at one point was an elite pound for pound talent, a take on all comers type of guy. Now Bob says he looks at Canelo as more of a businessman. Now, this is not an original take. A lot of people have been saying stuff similar since Canelo decided not to take a fight against David Benavidez. But what do you think? Is Canelo right now a boxer or is he a businessman?
I would agree with Bob Arum. I think he's more of a businessman than a boxer, but that's what happens when you're a pay-per-view star. I mean, if you look back at all the big stars, I mean, if I go back to Mike Tyson in the 90s when he got out of jail, he was selective with his opponents. Oscar De La Hoya, in between the monsters that he fought, he had guys like, David Kamau and Patrick Carpentier and many others. So I just think Canelo's taking a page from that book. There's still solid names on the resume. So when you look at the name, 20 years from now, you're just going to see an undefeated record and the fact that he was a title holder in the opponents that Canelo has. They're still former champions or champions with excellent resumes. And yeah, they're calculated risks now. But whenever you're that long in the tooth like Canelo, with over, he's 35 years old with well over 65 fights as a professional. I just think he earned that right. He earned that right to be picking and choosing whoever he wants to fight at this stage of his career. And if selected right in the right areas on the right date, at the right time, I think fans are going to support him. Fans are always going to support stars, pay-per-view stars, and they always will because it's a rite of passage that these fighters get.
Yeah, I think earned is the operative word there. And I think fighters that have accomplished what Canelo has accomplished have earned the right to be selective with their opponents. And like you said, it's not an original career strategy. I mean, we saw it very recently with Floyd Mayweather, who also earned the right to pick and choose who he fought. I mean, Floyd, when he was Pretty Boy, was one of the best fighters of that era. He pivots to Money Mayweather, and he still took some big fights, most notably the big one against Oscar De La Hoya and later against Manny Pacquiao. But he was definitely more selective. People were criticizing a little bit, but he had earned the right to do that, in part because no matter who he fought, he was still able to register incredible paydays. So he could afford to be taking low risk, really high reward types of fights. And that's exactly what Canelo Alvarez is doing. I mean, Canelo, go back to the early years. I mean, he fought Mayweather back in 2013. He fought Erislandy Lara when Lara was a killer, or at least a tough fighter at that point. He fought Gennady Golovkin when Golovkin was close to his very best. Fought him 3 times, in fact. I mean, moved up, fought Bivol. Bivol was a pound for pound type of guy. So he's earned the right to be judicious with his opponent's selection. The question, though, is when these pound for pound lists come out, should we still have Canelo Alvarez on it? Most lists, including my most recent one, have him still in the top 10. I do think it's fair to ask Sergio, after the performance against William School, is Canelo still a pound for pound top 10 fighter? I think I'd still make him as the number one guy in the 168 pound division, but is he still in your mind a guy that should be ranked in the top 10?
Absolutely. I mean, look, going back on what you were just talking about with the first question, I think whenever you're a pay-per-view star, you get that star seniority. So just seniority keeps you in the top 10 and keeps you as a pay-per-view star and one of the main attractions. I could still fight all over the world against BC level guys and still be an attraction. So yeah, Canelo's still that. And of course, he's still in the top 10 pound for pound. You have to take out one number 9 or number 10. I don't care who you have at your top 10. And it's always bad anytime I see Tank Davis at the top of that list. So you take out Tank.
For the 900th time, just for the 900th time.
No.
Tank Davis is
you
not in my top 10.
always have Tank Davis on your top 10. That's ridiculous. So you take out Tank Davis and you put out a legend and a star and a pay-per-view attraction like Canelo Alvarez.
I don't have Tank Davis in my top 10. we keep doing this. We keep doing this over and over again. I do not have Tank Davis in my top 10. When you get back to the back half of the top 10, you're talking about guys like Junto Nakatani, Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney before the Ryan Garcia fight was worthy of being inclusion on that list. I mean, I've got Canelo right in the middle right now. I do think I'd drop him down. And if I'm being honest, I'll probably give some serious consideration to dropping him out because I'll just put straight direct question.
Blasphemy. Boxing,
well,
blasphemy, Chris
Sergio, let me ask you this.
Drop still the number one pound for pound star in boxing. I don't care if he's still, he's at the end of his career. We all know that he's already lost a step and plenty of punches, but he's still an attraction. Anytime you carry that burden, that pay-per-view burden where you're still a star, you're still packing arenas, you're still getting paid the biggest money in the sport, you have to squeeze him in. I'm sorry, Junto Nakatani. I know this is boxing and it goes skills, but you also carry the burden of being a star and carrying the sport. And you got to take out guys in the top 10 because of Canelo and make way for a guy like that simply on seniority, Chris Mannix. That's it. You know a lot about seniority and nepotism, so you should know.
Okay. All right. We're doing the nepotism thing again. And we're playing the greatest hits. Seniority too, old man. Right now. We're playing the Sergio Mora greatest hits. I love it. I would look, I have to think longer about it. Right now, I have him at number 5. I would drop him down that list after the Williams School performance. Do I have him still above the likes of David Benavidez, who was on my list last time? Probably until Benavidez beats another fighter of a top caliber, in which case he'd probably move ahead of him. Nakatani, right there, because Nakatani's a really damn good fighter. Bam Rodriguez, probably ahead of him right now, I think, on the pound-for-pound list. So I do think he's inching closer to being off that list. But right now, if I had to make my list in this immediate moment, I'd probably put him still inside that top 10.